Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch the Beat. I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with my boy Jazz, aka DJ Prompt Theory.
No. We're not doing that.
Have you guys heard of this Trump theory thing? Like
Yes.
it's crazy to me. I don't know what's real anymore. But what is real is our special guest, Carlos. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Thank you so much. I've crawled up from the comment section in YouTube, and I'm here on the show.
I know. Are you really here, or are you a prompt theory right now?
I just start wigging out. It's like glitching, go away.
Imagine you just make an AI version of you, and like you're just writing prompts for that character the whole time, and you're not really there. You're literally just in the bathroom taking a poop while your AI is like doing all this stuff through prompts.
If my AI is out here podcasting for me, something's gone very wrong.
Right?
My AI
You're
should be
doing the work.
Exactly.
You're paying the bills, and your AI is making the art you enjoy.
I know. I saw a tweet a long time ago. It's like when you watch movies like Back to the Future and stuff, AI is supposed to do like the remedial grunt work for you so that you can spend most of your time enjoying art and making poetry and being creative. Instead, you're still doing the remedial job that you're doing, and they're the ones making art and poetry and music. Wait a second here.
We did this backwards, y'all. Let's go back.
We got hosed, bro. We got hosed. It's really interesting. Like, you know, it's supposed to be like the droids in Star Wars. Like, that's how AI is supposed to work. Not this, like, you know, like for all we know, C-3PO and R2-D2 are probably like badass rappers in the Star Wars universe. And like, that's what they do, man. They make poetry and they drop beats and stuff. Whereas the people like the sand people, they do all the remedial work. There's literally slaves in Star Wars. There's literally slaves in Star Wars when you have droids.
I was at C2E2 this year in Chicago, and Patton Oswalt did a stand-up hour at C2E2. So I went to that, and he had a whole bit about AI, and he referred to AI as participation trophies for people who can't do stuff. It's like, oh, I want to make a painting, so I'll just type it in, and it's just as good as yours. Like, it's a participation trophy for someone who didn't want to put in the work to get good at art.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a great way to explain it.
Yeah, like, you know, you can just put in a bunch of prompts and it'll give you a book. Whereas, like, you know, like real people hire ghostwriters.
Actually, speaking of books, in Chicago this week, they published, the Chicago Sun-Times published their summer reading list. And it's like 14 books or something like that. 7 of the books do not exist. The person who wrote the list used ChatGPT. It hallucinated half of the list, including synopses. And the reporter
That's amazing.
Yeah, the reporter's like, oh, you know what? Like, I do use AI like on background sometimes just to like help me, but I always vet it, and I just didn't vet it this time. I'm sorry. It's like, no, dude.
Yeah.
This report was one assignment, and it's just books. And
yeah.
You didn't vet it. That means you didn't do it. Like
you didn't do the reading assignment, bro.
Project. Exactly.
That's so
damn.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know, another way to catch the ChatGPT stuff is something called the M dash. Have you guys heard of that? The M dash. If someone's putting So M dash is like, instead of putting a parentheses or something, they use like a dash, which is like a really long dash. It's like extra long, which is not even on the keyboard. So that's where you know it's like ChatGPT. So it's the way ChatGPT talks. Instead of like pauses or like transitions, they drop M dashes in there. So that's
Yeah,
how you can
ChatGPT
tell.
loves an M dash. That's true.
The best way to do ChatGPT is drop it into ChatGPT, get your cheat, whatever it is, then drop it back into ChatGPT and say, make it not sound like ChatGPT. Oh man, that's funny. All right. Well, let's talk
Enough of
about
that.
Star Wars. We went on a little bit of a rant. Oh, someone has some comments. Also, 5 to 50 ChatGPT queries consume roughly 500 milliliters of water. That's crazy to me, and I'm just like, yeah, like, bro, if you're asking like one question, somebody's not gonna get water. Like, that's crazy to me. That's insane. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how that actually works. Like, is it the servers and stuff that they use to cool down the equipment?
Correct.
That's where the waters are being used. Okay.
But it's just taking up so much. It's heating up the server so much that it requires so much water. And it is getting better, to be fair, but it's still not great. It's not like we have an abundance of water that we're going to have water shortages in the next century.
Can't they just put all of these like ChatGPT servers in Antarctica and solve the problem that way? Just put some really long lines.
Maybe that's why we're trying to invade. We're trying to annex Greenland. We just want to throw our servers there.
That's true. That's so true. Like, Canada has all that space. Freaking use Canada. Like, half that space is not being used. The polar bears can run our servers, bro.
Just be like the rest of us. Download Olama and run it locally on your computer.
I don't know what Olama is.
So, fun fact: Facebook, they have a LLM model called Llama, and Olama allows you to download any model, like the ones that are open source and publicly there, like DeepSeek and Google's Gemini, and you can run them locally on your computer without it going back to their servers. That's what I do. It's great.
I'm
and you have no limits.
Super duper old school. I just don't use AI. Period. End of sentence. Unless I'm like, the only time I use AI is when it's like forced on me. Like if I Google something, it's like, well, I didn't want your AI search result, but I guess here it is, and it's terrible. So I'm gonna scroll right past it and go to the real search results.
Yeah. I'm surprised that like the AI in Star Wars hasn't rised up and like whatchamacallit try to go after all of the bad guys. Like, what happened to all those like Roger and like all those droids that they had? Like, why didn't they rise up and take control?
They were made weak. That's why
they were made weak.
They were smart enough to keep them weak.
They were, whereas like real AI, I'm telling you, man, there's going to be a Star Wars story like a few years in the future, and it's going to be AI versus the people. They're going to go T2 on us.
Oh, that's a cool trick, apparently.
Huh.
You can always type in -AI to eliminate the AI summary from your search results.
So minus
Thank
AI.
you, Kelly.
I like that. That is, I love that.
Oh, that is very useful. Our freaking audience members are so helpful. Shout out to Kelly. She's always giving us. Is it a she? I don't know. I think so. Don't want to assume their gender, but yes, always giving us good comments. But the year now is 3 BBY. Not to be confused in our last podcast with BBL. I still think that's so funny. BBL drink. What that song? BBL Drizzy. Oh god, I can't get that. Now that's gonna be stuck in everyone's head. You're welcome.
I hate you.
All right, the year is BBY. 3 years later, or 3 years before technically, and our girl Bix, she's having these dreams, man. She's having these dreams about all the stuff this guy, Dr. Ghost, put on her, making her see all of these terrible thoughts and screams and all this crazy stuff. She's not having a good time. They don't have sleep medication in Star Wars. She starts taking these drugs, which are not melatonin. They seem a little bit harder just to get some sleep.
I mean, I don't blame her. I feel like we kind of do things like that too. A lot of people take like gummies and whatnot to go to sleep. Like,
Yeah. What's that?
it's
What's
just
that?
kind of common.
What's that actual medication for sleep? I forgot what it's called. The one where people sleepwalk.
Ambien.
Ambien. Yeah. People
What?
sleepwalk.
People
on Ambien.
sleepwalk?
Yeah.
Not only were people sleepwalking, people were like sleep binge eating.
Yeah.
They would sleepwalk to their
That's
fridge
wild.
and just like hoard food.
They would just
Yeah.
actually do random stuff around their house, or they'd go outside and mow the lawn. They would just actually like legit be doing things.
Yeah,
While
like
they're
sleep
sleeping.
driving. Yeah,
Yeah. That's crazy. Ambien was wild.
yeah.
I may need some of that.
I can't do sleep medication because I don't trust myself. Because when I can't fall asleep, I get desperate. I was just like, I'll take them all. I go on a long sleep. We don't want that. All right. So we get to see a little bit more of the Gorman area and their culture and a little bit stuff like that. And it's supposed to kind of remind us of like Nazi occupied Paris, which is kind of the thing they're going for. Even their language is like a French based language, even though it's not French. It has French vibes, I guess, kind of
Yeah.
is what they're saying.
It's definitely a romance vibe language. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
of
also
course,
kind of Germanic. Like there is like
Yeah.
a little bit of German in there.
yeah, I've noticed that too. And we see our boy Cassian Andor, fashion designer. Bro had drip. The freaking rebellion, they have not take the foot off the pedal when it comes to fashion. They legit put Cassian in this like dope ass outfit, and I'm just like, I would believe he's an actual fashion designer. I'd be like, yeah, man's got drip.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
he was looking smooth. The hair slicked back.
The hair slicked back, the
Mhm.
gel. Bro had the pompadour going.
Yeah, he was
Bro-
looking good.
Bro was looking good.
He looked like he could judge like a Project Runway episode, you know. Like, and welcome our special guest. I forget what Cassian's like alias was that episode, but
It was like Valerian Sky or something like that.
something like that. Yeah,
Dope name. Oh my
make
god.
it work, designers. I love Project
Yo,
Runway.
Andor fashion has always been good. I like if you watch Rogue One, yeah, Varian Sky. was his
Varian
name.
Sky.
Valerian is the steal from Game of Thrones. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the fashion in Andor has always been good. Even Rogue One, like that blue jacket that he wears in the snow. I always wanted to get that, and it's so expensive. Like it's really hard to get. The fashion in Rogue One is off the charts. I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan of Saw Gerrera's just a whole suit and mask. I want that. That's the fashion I want.
Saw Gerrera is the bane of the Star Wars universe. I am
Exactly.
burned. You only adopted the revolution. I was born in it, molded by it. I haven't seen it. It's just so funny. I love Saw. Saw has some good lines in this one.
Saw's the
We
best.
get to find out that bro is on a respirator because he's just inhaling fumes of Rhydon. That goes so hard.
Addiction's real.
Oh my god.
But it's also like it's like his thesis statement is kind of like I don't have to look out for my body because I'm not going to survive this war. Like
Yeah.
I can go hard. Like he is every like millennial EDM song. He is like tonight we are young. Like tonight.
Waiting for tonight. Whoa. Oh man. But yeah, the thing is, I always thought like, oh, he's using that oxygen thing to breathe. But now
Right.
I'm not so convinced. I think there's just more right on. I think he's just addicted to it. I think he's vaping that shit like he needs it.
He's straight up vaping, and that's why he's stealing more.
Oh man, that line he had about like it's my sister, and like I breathe it in and it's ready to explode. And I was like, yo, that is such a dope line, but like, bro, I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Especially like so like Saw's backstory is that like his sister,
Yeah,
like was killed, and
in
like
Clone
he always
Wars.
felt like, and he felt like it should have been her, she should have been leading the rebellion, not me.
Yeah.
And so like to say that this drug, these fumes are your sister, it's like, okay, you are, uh-oh.
Yeah, like bro is Looney Tunes, but like sometimes you need a Looney Tune crazy person on your side, which is who Saw is. And yeah, like in Clone Wars, his sister died, and she was supposed to be the real leader of the rebellion. Like she was the person who had the ideas and made sense, and Saw was just, yeah, he wasn't all there, but he was a little bit more of a fanatic, right? So it's interesting how Saw is thought of as like, okay, he's part of the rebellion, but he's not really part of the rebellion. Like he's a little bit of the offshoot, and which is true in real life. Like there's these organizations, and they all have like little bit of like these offshoot groups that like go off and do things without the group, and it gets traced back to them. And then when it gets traced back to them, it gets traced back to the country or the rebellion. These things actually happen in real life. And so like this random offshoot group of part of a bigger group does something crazy, and now it's like, oh, is that country's responsibility and fault? In a way, maybe it is, but like I just think it's so fascinating that they brought this up in Star Wars, because like it really is like a playbook for like all revolutions and like rebellions. And I just found it really interesting how like, yeah, there's this rebellion group and they're all good, but not all of them. Like they're doing a lot of questionable things, and there's these offshoot things about them, and I find that really interesting. So like Saw's group is very, very interesting. What are your thoughts about his little faction?
Me or Jazz?
You
Yeah.
always the guest first.
Okay. No, I think that so they're called the Rebel Alliance, right? An alliance means that there were different groups that had to agree to work together, but they all have their own, modes of operation. They all
Oh no, did we lose him?
Did we lose him? I think we did lose him.
me.
I think we might have lost him. But yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like it's an alliance, so it's a bunch of separate groups, and it makes sense. And it also makes Andor better, because in Andor you see them all coming together to help them on Scarif. And now when you watch what you call it, Andor, Rogue One, that scene in Rogue One makes so much more sense and has so much more power, because you see so much infighting with all of them. So now you're like, oh, okay, they didn't just like decide to come help them. It was all the infighting that happens, and that's why what happened in Rogue One was so inspirational. It got everyone to be like, okay, we need to go do this. And I think, like I said, one thing that makes a prequel really good is if it makes the content that came before it better. And I feel like this is one of the ways it does that. But where are you going to say, Carlos, now that you're back on the internet?
Okay, I wasn't sure if like you guys could see me or not.
Yeah.
I don't know where I cut off, but basically you kind of nailed it. Like they're disparate groups that have to come together, and they have to become an alliance. And Jazz, I know you work in politics. There's a saying that if everyone in your coalition agrees, you don't have a coalition, right? Like a coalition is a group of parties with different priorities who kind of all want the same goal, but not quite. Like they just, not quite the same. They have differing issues that they want to get addressed, and they have different methods. Differing levels of how severe they're willing to be to achieve those goals. Yeah.
Find that fascinating. That's really cool. Like it's just a great way to show that in a Star Wars show. Like honestly, like if I was somebody who was like a history professor, I would just make everybody watch Andor and not do any teaching for the rest of the year.
No, but like, you can obviously tie it back to like real world examples. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
just now, like when we had the uncommitted movement, right? And then
Right.
stuff I do, right? We're all approaching it differently,
Yeah.
but we are a loose coalition of people who want to achieve somewhat the same goal in the end of the day. And so, whether it's now or, you know, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, this still applies. And that's the beauty of the show is that, you know, as the creator said, you can drop the show at any point in history and people will know what it's, you know, relating to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Another thing that they talked a little bit about is this little uprising. They have a little town hall, the Gormans, and they talk about how the imperial restrictions are hurting their small businesses and like all these like real life issues that they're having in beef with the empire. And they talked a little bit about something called the Gorman Massacre. So the Gorman Massacre, and they don't really like talk about it in detail, but basically what happened was General Tarkin was coming to Gorman, and there were protesters there, and they're stubborn. They weren't letting him land. He lands his cruiser on top of all of these people, killing all of them. So the fact that there's like an imperial building right in front of this like monument is like disrespectful, and it pisses people off, and they're out there protesting. And I found that to be very interesting too, because like there's they refer to the Gorman Massacre in Star Wars in I believe the Clone Wars or Rebels, I believe they refer to it, and also to I think one of the Star Wars movies. I can't remember, maybe the third one. And it's interesting how they're able to like bring more detail to this, because as we know, that might not be the only Gorman Massacre, but they brought it into continuity and stuff, which I think is really interesting. What are your thoughts about that? Jazz, you want to go further, sir?
Sure. So obviously this is not the only massacre that's ever happened.
Right.
There's a whole history of everything that the Empire's done and how top level executives will do what they want to do because, they're at the top of the government. They have things to do. They can't be, held back by just the peasants, right? For lack of a better word here. Mm-hmm. And seeing the armory like start to tower over the plaza and everything, like what people did not always catch this was like it's casting a shadow over everything of their history of what's going on. And it's just the Empire just being the Empire, right? They're going to cast a shadow over histories, cultures, and wreck everything in their path to achieve their goal. And that's it's just beautiful how they show it without saying it.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the way they kind of just like illustrate that for us. It was really cool. Carlos, what are your thoughts?
Fascism needs like complete psychological dominance, right? You need to feel overwhelmed by fascism. You need to feel like rising up is hopeless. And just the gall and the audacity of building this building that's looming over the memorial of of a spot where a tragedy has happened, a sacred spot, that's I can't draw like a real world comparison like right now off the top of my head that would not be clumsy, so I won't. But it is like they are just saying like, yeah, we don't care, like we're building this building and we're telling you like this lie, and it's a lie, and we know it's a lie, and we're just,
what are you gonna do about it?
We're messing with you, we're toying with you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
And we're also like subtly changing the way everyone else in this galaxy feels about you. So no one's coming.
And it's a way for them to kind of bait them, right? Like Deirdre says, you need to find some dependable rebels that will do some unsavory things, right? And this is the great way to bait them into doing this. And that's kind of what happens. And they have these town halls, and Cyril gets caught up in this. Now, Cyril, this is like a whole different movie within a movie. Like he is like in his espionage era. He thinks he's being this cool spy, but what he doesn't know is he's getting played by the players, and he's over there thinking like, oh yeah, I'm in this, and I'm going to catch these rebels, and I'm going to make them over anxious and attract some outside agitators and make them more and more bold. But like he doesn't know the real plan that Deirdre and Krennic and all these people have copped up. So he's such an interesting character in here because he's, you know, not a good guy, not a bad guy. He's just like in the middle.
He's doing his job.
He's doing his job. And it kind of does show like how complacent people inside a fascist regime, like they're being, you know, eaten up and chewed out and spit out by bureaucracy and the government. And like he gains nothing from this. He gets screwed just as much as everyone else.
What's even more interesting about this one is that it's not just his job doing it.
Yeah.
It's his goddamn girlfriend manipulating him to do this.
Yo.
Like, how cruel is that?
Deirdre is one of the most fascinating characters. And she's played so well by the actress.
Yeah. The layers here of how Dedra is like manipulating her own boyfriend to achieve her own ambitions. Like,
yeah.
Oh, and then, you know, when they had that meeting and they were talking about, you know, oh, you're going to lead the Gorman project. And then Partagaz was like, just do it. You're going to be a hero. And then everybody's seeking their own glory.
Yeah.
Dedra didn't even want to do it. She just wanted to go after Axis, right?
Yeah.
But then this allure of like power and fame makes people do the craziest things. And we see that even now in a lot of our organizations here. You see a lot of infighting among organizations that are trying to have the same goal. Why? Because they want the power. They want to claim, hey, we did this. Hey, we had the most Instagram likes or whatever. And again, like there's so many real world examples that you can draw on from Andor, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. No,
and also from the authoritarian aspect of it, when you look at like our current situation, our current administration, this guy sucks, right? Like we all agree, the president sucks. Yes. So, but he's very consistent about surrounding himself with the most mediocre to below average people who are getting a break no one else would ever give them because they're not capable, right? And people like Cyril would not rise up. People like, but they're like, I'm being recognized. I'm finally understanding that I am
at the top.
Yeah. And so like Cyril, the thing about Cyril is had his mother been different, he would have been a rebel.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
His whole thing is he just wants someone to recognize him. That's all. And that's why it's so like devastating that it's coming from his girlfriend. Like that he's a full idiot from his girlfriend. But at the same time, his girlfriend, look at his girlfriend. She's raised by the Empire. Like she's got like she never had a chance. Like she was literally raised by the Empire
from day one,
serve the Empire. Yeah, like she was never going, even if she can sense that they're doing the wrong thing, she's never going to have it within herself to break out of that. Like,
oh my god, I just thought of something
from birth.
I just thought of something what you just said. Deirdre and Jyn Erso have the same story. They just went in two different directions. Right? Because they were going to take Jyn, but it got to her first.
Yeah.
If they took Jyn, put her in a Kinderblock, she would have grown up to be exactly like Deirdre. And if Deirdre was saved by some rebel, she would have been like Jyn. That is just, whoa, that just blew my mind.
You know what's even crazier? There's another example of this. Clea.
Oh, Clea too. Wow.
Because you can see if Clea was put into a Kinderblock, she would have been totally different.
Yeah.
And she was this close if Luthen didn't. Well, we'll talk about that in the future episodes when we get to that point. But yes, even Clea is a good example of this.
Yeah, it's just it's like the same coin and just like three different sides. I find that very fascinating. But back to Cyril, one of the things that I noticed about him, like he's like lives off these little bits of like positive affirmations. Like when the guy says you did a good job, he goes, "This is the best day of my life," and Deirdre's like, "Okay, okay, sure." I don't know what to tell you.
The other thing about Cyril, I think I love Cyril, like as a character, is that he likes Gorman.
Yeah,
Yeah, he likes Gorman.
He likes it. Like he could have a life there. He could be, a very happy bureaucrat there, and not, never get into the espionage. But because he needs that recognition, because he needs any senpai to notice him, it doesn't matter which. Like, please, any senpai notice me. That is Cyril.
Yeah, and like his story was so believable for the Gorman to take it into account, because they're like, oh yeah, he was disgraced by the Empire, and he fired from the job, and he has a little bit of a grudge against them, and it worked so well. But you could see him being like, listen, I did not sign up for this, and he has this like change of heart, and I don't think we got to that part yet where he has that, but we'll get to that. Oh, that's really great. Other people,
Cyril's just like the child in all of us. He just wants to be appreciated and just collects his little knickknacks and lives a very comfortable life. That's exactly what we do. All of us, we have like our little collections. I have all of Miss Marvel back here. Like that's all we all want. We just want to have like our little collections and live a comfortable life and just make art on podcasts and have a good time.
I mean, and really, Cyril's never been loved, right? Cyril's mother loves him as like an act of like self-importance. It's a narcissism thing. She, his existence is to make her look like a better mother. And then Dedra doesn't love him, like clearly. It's transactional. It's completely transactional. Even if she is feeling things for him, she's definitely put that beneath her orders as, what is the acronym, as a, an investigator. So yeah, like Cyril isn't ever receiving affection from anyone in his entire life.
Yeah. I don't,
poor guy.
I don't think Deirdre not liking Cyril is a reflection on Cyril as much as a reflection on her. I don't think she's capable of love. I think she loves Cyril as much as she can, which is not a lot, but she because when something happens later, she's like still cares a little bit. So it's really interesting. Like she does want a future with him, but she will not prioritize him at whatsoever. He is on the bottom of that bottom hole. He's a nice to have.
He's a pet. He's a house plant.
Like invincible. Yeah, I love her, but I think of her more as a pet.
Think, Cyril.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of his mom, one of the things that I found really interesting is like all this stuff is happening. His mom actually starts bad mouthing the Gormans and stuff like that. And said like, this is beneath you. You don't need to be here, which means the propaganda is working, because we see her 3 years later and she's like saying all these things about Gorman. The perception about Gormans like this did not exist, and now it does. So it's like the way it's seeping into everyday people, and like she watches shows where it's like Good Morning Coruscant, which is like I think is so hilarious, and there's like war and politics happening. They're like, let's talk about fashion, let's talk about who's wearing what, and I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of what happened. It's like you drown people in entertainment and all this stuff, and they don't seem to actually care about what's going on in the real world, which
opium for the masses.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting, which is kind of like weird, because kind of that's what's happening to us. Like we're watching a TV show about all this stuff, which is kind of making us feel good about ourselves, because we're like, I like a show that is exposing all of this, but I haven't done anything except like a show. Like, like I'm glad the show is out there. I'm glad I'm promoting it. I'm glad people can see a little bit that like, oh, maybe it'll open someone's eyes. But like in the grand scheme of things, we ain't do shit. We're just a bunch
I changed the law today, man.
Yeah, Jazz.
Maybe you, Jazz. Maybe you.
Jazz,
but
good.
I'm saying the general masses. General masses.
See, no
I mean,
respect or
we're-
affection from my friends when I'm doing the good things. I'm
We're
Cyril.
all.
Listen,
We're
I
all
shared
old
your
enough-
post, Jazz. I did a lot.
I would have, but Twitter was down, so sorry.
I don't even post it on Twitter, man.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're all old enough to remember the anti-French movement after 9/11.
Freedom fries.
Freedom fries, like French's mustard almost went bankrupt because people thought it was French. They're like, no, it's the name. It's like a last name, idiots. I mean, that's what's happening here. Is Cyril's mother is like, I would never buy from Gorman. They're so
Arrogant.
arrogant. Exactly. They think they're better than us. It's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
This was like, this place was like basically like Milan or Paris, like. And now you're gonna just say like, I would never buy from them. Like you're being led, but you don't realize it.
Yeah. Someone says Denise discussed was it Denise or Dennis? Denise discussed Cyril's journey of walking among the oppressed and how that has shaped his empathy towards Gorman. That's so true. That's so true. And that's why I tell people one of the best things you can do. If my advice to people, and like maybe it comes from a little bit of a place of privilege, but traveling will change your perspective on everything. Like it's so like when I went to like Tanzania, like I was like, whoa, people like this exist. Because when I went to Tanzania, they were the nicest people I ever met in the world. And I'm just like, people that would literally give you the shirt off their back actually exists in the real world. Like it's just an amazing place. And I'm just like, it changes the way you think about a lot of things. And same thing, like I know a lot of people who go to Pakistan, and we saw Onija, our homie Onija Robinson, who went to Pakistan, and you got to see and walk amongst these people, and you get a different perspective on real people and not what media shows you. So I think that's interesting that Cyril gets to walk along with these people, and you can see him having empathy for a lot of them. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Another thing we talked about, they mentioned so casually, and I'm like, ooh, is this a Elon Musk reference? This guy named Yoran, I believe, sees some kind of general. There was a hollow news buyout. So they like actually, the government agency actually buys out the news now. So like Elon buying Twitter, I was like, whoa, like, yeah, it makes sense. You buy the news source, and then you can kind of change people's perceptions and propaganda. It is a playbook. This right here.
100% it's a playbook.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I mean, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post.
Rupert
Murdoch
owns
everything
Fox.
else. Yeah. It's a playbook.
True. That's for sure. Yeah, that's very interesting. All right. Another person who we get to see from last season is Cinta, our homie Cinta. Shout out to the Daisy girl on the show. And in this, we find out that she is a driver for one of the, what do you call it? The fling of Matmatma, her old fling.
Take Holma.
Yeah.
Cinta's the worst Uber driver.
Worst
like,
Uber
no
driver.
100%. Zero stars. Yep.
Zero stars.
She gets to talk to Val a little bit, and we find out that like something happened to her a year ago, and she got hurt, and she was kind of just like out of commission for a while. Do we ever get to figure out what that is? Probably not.
Nope.
But I thought that was really interesting. So like she has like this other story that we don't really get to hear, but like you can see they had a little bit of like falling out, and like we find out that Luthen kept them separate on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Luthen's kind of a bastard. And then when you see what he did there, you kind of understand why when Luthen came to Big's apartment and says all this stuff, Andor got heated and with like forget protocol. He just walked up there, no hoodie, came into the shop and started going off on Luthen. And I was just like, yeah, man, Luthen, he's also not a good guy, but he's also accepted that he's not a good guy. He's like, listen, I have become something that's not good in order to get this goal, right? And I just found that really interesting.
Well, I mean, how many times have we like have people been begging like the Democrats, like, please
Yeah.
get in the mud, fight back. Like,
Yeah.
please
Bring a
stop
gun to a
bringing
gunfight.
knife.
Yes.
Yes, please stop bringing. I don't even say a knife to a gunfight. I say stop bringing a quill to a gunfight. Please stop trying to write the Federalist Papers, because like, that's not the fight right now, right? You like they have a gun to America's head, and you're trying to give like a speech that will live on in times immemorial. Like please stop. Like, fight. We need to fight.
Yeah, actually
And
fight. Don't give a 24-hour filibuster and then vote in somebody who. Freaking, that's a New Jersey guy too, man.
that's rough. That's a rough one.
That was a rough one. That was a rough one.
But yeah, Luthen is like, I can't be, the statesman. Like that we don't need that. We need someone who's going to scrap. We need someone who will shank you in the hallway.
Yeah.
But he and Luthen is also pushing very much like the Jedi.
Yeah.
No attachments. Holding you back, right? Like,
I never thought about that. That is so true. He does abide by the no attachment philosophy of the Jedi.
He preaches it. And I'll say that will be all I say about that. He preaches no attachments.
Do not forget, he had kyber crystals on his little car thing and had like sabers, and he did that spin move to cut ships up. I mean, I'm just saying.
A lot of people did say that there was a theory that he was a secret Jedi, but I'm glad it didn't go with that. I'd rather him just be a regular guy, and they didn't have Jedi. We don't need Jedis in this show, which I'm glad it was able to stand on its own.
Yeah, I agree. Fully agree.
But that was an interesting theory, and I did see a lot of people talk about it. But back when I was talking about Cinta, so these Gormans, they decide to put together this like little escapade. I don't know. I don't want to say the words, but like they try to do something. They try to steal these weapons, and they try to do this illegal activity. And Andor is like, they shouldn't do it. They're not ready. They're overzealous.
They're
so not prepared. And then we get Cinta and Val to go and do it. And that's what they wanted. The Empire wanted outside agitators to come in and work with these people, so it can be traced back to Gormans and all this stuff, and they can find information. Something that also happens in real life. Sometimes governments let things happen so that they can trace them back to where they came from, or though they can put in the political ideology or something that they wanted to do anyways. So this stuff actually happens, which is really fascinating. In this stuff, we have this guy named Sam who wants a weapon and he wants all these things. And they're like, no, we have to do this by the book. If you don't follow the book, we're going to screw up. What happens? They screw up. He shoots somebody, and it's our girl Cinta, and she dead. R.I.P.
Rip.
That was sad. And Val she gave it to him. She yelled at him. I was like, yeah, you should feel bad, you stupid idiot. I was so mad.
And this got a lot of criticism for falling into the I'm gonna misquote it now, the kill your gays trope, where it's like there's two gay characters, they finally get to be together, and then one of them dies. Like,
I didn't know that's a thing. That's a
bury your gays trope. Yeah,
thank you so much. It's the end of the night, and my brain is definitely like, can't access all the words that I want to. My AI isn't working. The prompt, come on, prompt guy, help me out here. It's the bury your gays trope. And this got a lot of criticism because they're finally back together, and then not even 5 minutes later, Cinta will die, and it'll be like off screen, like you won't, and it's like a stray shot, like it's not even. She doesn't get like a glorious moment.
No. It was friendly fire. Like, it's like a gun violence accident.
Yo, I'm reading this thing online about it right now. According to Autostraddle, which examined 1,779 scripted U.S. TV series from 1976 to 2016, right? 11% of them featured lesbian or bisexual female characters, and among those, only 16% got a happy ending.
Wow.
And among all lesbian or bisexual characters in ended series, only 10% did.
Damn.
Rip.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that makes a lot of sense, because I feel like a lot of the stories that first came out about like a certain group of people, it's always the tragedies. Like if you go
just
back
so you
to
feel sympathetic.
just so you
and
feel
got it,
sympathetic
yeah.
for a lot of these characters and stuff like that. So I think that's very interesting. All right, so now let's go to Coruscant, and we see a new, or not so new, kind of new, actor who is playing Senator Organa. I was like, bro, lost weight. It turns out it was Benjamin Bratt. It was a completely different person.
Hey, it makes sense though. Back then he was probably skinny, right? This is a prequel.
True.
I buy
true.
it.
Except he's in Rogue One, so I don't know.
He gained a lot of weight in this next couple of years. Okay.
He went on Star Wars Ozempics.
He's also in episode 3. So what happened in the middle?
Hey.
Listen, he had a Botox incident. Yeah,
He got lipo, and then it came back because he didn't change his
back.
lifestyle.
Came back. Oh man.
He started huffing that Rhino, and lost all the weight.
Yeah. But they have this party, and in this party there is a wire that needs to be pulled out, basically.
Amazing.
From one of the art pieces.
One of the art pieces, because the guy found out one of his art pieces is fake, and now everything has to be vetted, because he doesn't want the embarrassment of another one being like called out. So everything being vetted, and they're like, they're going to find it. They're going to find it, and they're like, and this is where like Val and Lupin go at each other, and they were like, I should have never done it. And she's like,
Clea, not Val.
Sorry, Clea. Yes, you're right, Clea. Sorry about that. Clea and Lupin go at each other because she thinks it's still the right thing to do. They got a lot of good information out of it. He's like, no, it was too reckless. I find that to be really interesting. And she went in, found Lonnie, our boy Lonnie, and used him as a physical shield.
Lonnie.
He did so much.
Lonnie's such a good dude. I love Lonnie.
Yeah. The next episode we do, we're going to talk a lot about our boy Lonnie.
I couldn't remember his name until the final 3 episodes. I was like, I will never name Lonnie ever. But I was calling him Lieutenant Weasley because I was like, you're redheaded. I don't remember anything else about it.
I was seeing the name Lonnie Young, and I was like, there was no Asian in this. Like, who was they talking about? I was like, who's Lonnie Young? That sounds like such an Asian name. I was like, who the hell is that?
I love this comment in the chat that maybe Bale pulled a Padme and sent a decoy. That's so good.
That's so true. He's actually Keira Knightley.
Exactly.
Benjamin Bratt is the Keira Knightley of Jimmy Smith.
Love it.
I'm dead.
So you know what? Quick observation about the Gorman that mission.
Yeah.
Cassian doesn't want to do it because he's like, they're not ready, and they're proving a point everyone already knows. So you're risking a lot for really not much gain, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Had Cassian gone along with it, he would have seen Cyril. Cyril would have seen Cassian. Like it would have been,
and he would have connected the dots. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, Cyril would have like finally got his white whale. Like he would have been like, "This is the guy I've been chasing. I found him. He just happens to be here."
1.
Yeah, right, exactly. And Cassian probably I don't know who you are, but like would have probably caught on eventually.
The Cyril Andor beef is so funny to me because it's so one-sided. It's like that Don Draper meme. Like, I feel bad for you. He goes, I don't think about you at all.
Think of you at all. Yep. It's like Thanos. Thanos. And,
I don't even know you.
Or M. Bison in the Street Fighter movie. Like, for you, it was the worst day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday.
Oh my god. That's a great line. Street Fighter. Terrible movie. Great line though. I remember that.
Great line.
Oh, so funny. All right. And then we get to one of the best parts in this episode or this arc. My favorite part is when Bix goes into Dr. Gor's office looking like a baddie, and she puts on the actual freaking thing that he tortured her with, and just left him there. And then in straight like 80s action flick fashion, they just walk away with an explosion in the background looking badass as hell. I was so amped for this scene. I can't believe you how happy the scene made me. Number one, it was just badass looking. Number two, Bix getting her revenge was so
Cathartic.
good. So
Cathartic.
good.
Mhm.
Oh my God. And then you find out that like there's like one throwaway line. Someone says, or Karen Smith from Mean Girls, why are you so obsessed with me?
God, why are you so obsessed with me?
That's reference to. The other thing is with the throwaway line, and they talked about how Dr. Gross is basically setting up an interrogation headquarters in that building. So them blowing up that entire building actually helped the Empire. I mean, to the rebels quite a bit because it messed up the entire interrogation like thing that he was building. And he's the only one that knows how it works. He's the only one that has technology. They blew up the whole thing, and that was actually huge. And I think it went kind of like undetected and unnoticed. And I was like, that was so cool. And that was one of my favorite parts. That was such a great way to end this episode. It made me feel so good.
Yeah, they were going to
I love
take his method to scale, right? They were going
to scale it
out of his torture methods, right? Yeah.
That's so crazy. And,
Sorry, Jazz, I cut you off.
Yeah, were you going to say, Jazz?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I love the way Andor was like just going by, killing security people on the way out, and then like she walks out, and yeah, it was just beautiful. I was like, yeah, we're at this point.
I don't think this mission was Luthen approved. I think like he went rogue.
Oh, for sure. This was not Luthen approved. This is a risk to them because them blowing up a building on Coruscant like that,
Yeah.
with like the Empire's police force essentially headquartered there around the Senate, and they take a risk like this, they 100% went rogue here.
And it's also like, it's basically inauguration week, but for the entire Senate. And like, you know, Jazz, I'm sure you've been in DC for inauguration times. Like there are cops from all over the country there. Like, like they need so much extra security. So like right now, Coruscant is probably the most secure it will be for the next, you know, whatever term. And they're out here killing doctors and blowing up buildings. Like,
I mean, absolutely. Like one could say this mission was a rogue one.
I was waiting for that because I knew I set it up.
I think we have to end it on this note. I don't think I can come back from that.
Wow.
No,
that's great. That's great.
Oh man. All right, Carlos, thank you so much for joining us. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find my work on agentsoffandom.com. I just wrote an essay about Andor and how it's, you know, it's basically screaming from the rooftops, like, guys, look outside, like, please, anyone, this is happening right now, like now. And I was feeling real big feelings about it, and I had to write an essay. Like, I was just like, I need to get words out, I need to get feelings out. And Agents of Fandom was like so gracious and like allowing me to like kind of publish that out there. Like, please, like, just you'll find me on Agents of Fandom. When Twitter's working, sometimes I'm there, but generally I kind of, those streets are real fascist right now, and I don't really enjoy it. So you'll find me on NBA Twitter, you know, until further notice.
Fair enough. All right. Well, send us a link to your essay, and we'll drop it in the comments or in the actual description, and we'll throw that in there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you have time, please join us for the third one. The next one we're going to do, a lot of interesting stuff happens in that one too, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, we got one more comment. Unfortunately, the ISB had to share information with the Imperial Navy, so I think that Lonnie set it up so that the leak would be blamed on the Navy, not the ISB.
Ooh.
Lonnie is the most important character in the history of Star Wars, and I don't
100%.
think that people understand this. Like,
Also,
Fate of the Galaxy, rest of a man named Lonnie. Like,
just a non-Asian man named Lonnie Young.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah,
We forgive this one.
This he was honestly, like if you told me in the beginning of season 1 that this would be one of like the most like 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 heartbreaking character, like, oh, I wouldn't have believed you. I was like, I don't care about this dude. Who cares about him? Now I'm like, I'm gonna name my kid Lonnie Young.
You know what this arc too, and I'm sorry to linger, but this arc gave us the bellhop at the hotel.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
And
it's the
I
first meeting
love
with the
him.
bellhop. Yeah.
There's a whole, like, honestly, maybe if you take it out of Star Wars, but like imagine a movie about a bellhop at a hotel in France
Yeah,
and what he's seeing for the
Yeah.
next, 4 years or whatever,
Right.
as the Nazis come and occupy, like what that looks like. That's
Yeah.
basically what he's seeing. That hotel overlooks the monument. Like he
Yeah.
is seeing his whole world change in real time. It's like he's like the way that they're able to just make side characters like the most compelling story.
They
Like
really
I want
do.
to follow everyone. I want to go on all those side
Mhm.
quests.
That's when you know it show's really good. It, like, if this wasn't already Star Wars, like this could be like world building at its finest. Like you could make
Yes.
a new Star Wars just from this, if it wasn't already Star Wars.
And
It's
also
kinda
from a
funny
world building.
because-
Oh, go ahead, Jess. Sorry.
It's funny because like Andor is technically a side character we shouldn't have really cared about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from a storytelling standpoint, like because we know where Andor survives this series, spoilers, because he's in Rogue One, right? We know who survives this series.
Yeah.
So really, like for stakes, you really have to make us love the side characters because now I need to know. It's like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Like the whole time I'm like, I know Saul makes it, but what about Kim? What's happening to
No,
Kim?
You're right, because
Yeah.
like a lot of these shows, what they do is like they'll have prequels or whatever. They keep putting their main person in danger, but there's no sense of danger because they have plot armor. Like
They
it
have
makes
plot armor.
sense.
Exactly.
So you got to
Yeah,
make us
and
care
that-
about other people. Yeah,
And that's what's so great about this. Like I immediately care about like 5 gore people
yeah.
who I don't even know their names, but I'm like the big one, the old one, the woman who does this, the guy who accidentally shoots into, like I care. And the
Yeah.
immediately care,
The guy who just bursts out in song like at a rally. Like, yeah, I love them all.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna do one more sometime this week, hopefully. If not, maybe on the weekend. But we're gonna do all of Andor, every single arc. But please don't forget to share it with your friends. Leave us a comment. Help us with the algorithm. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, Salaam, nerds.
Peace.
Bye.